I joined IBM 3.5 years ago. I actually did a career change. So if any of you go to my LinkedIn, which I'm not encouraging you to, but if you do, you will see that I worked in e-commerce and marketing for a long time. And then I somehow got wind of machine learning and decided that that was something that was probably going to be really interesting to me. So it's a long and funny story about how I did a boot camp for 12 weeks in San Francisco and then thought I could get a job being a data scientist, which now in hindsight is really funny, knowing what I know. And I wound up going into a master's program at Berkeley for data science and joined IBM the last semester of my master's program. So I love talking about AI and machine learning and NLP. So that's why I'm here to chat with you tonight. I think a lot of you guys out here are software developers, so I'm not really sure how many people are data scientists, but this is how data scientists really spend our time. And a lot of it is doing really what a lot of people would call mundane work, which is cleaning data, and then trying to think of ways to group the data to actually be able to come to some sort of conclusion. And the model building and all that super fun stuff and the hyperparameter tuning is like, we really don't spend as much of our time doing that. But there's a reason that I'm showing this piece to you. I'm actually going somewhere with it. So the tool that the product that I'm actually going to demo for you is called AutoAI. And at IBM, we know that data science skills vary widely. Like it's a huge spectrum because, and if any of you guys are data scientists, even in the software developer space, I think that when you look at job descriptions, they may say, oh yeah, it's a software developer, but you read the job description, you're like, wow, that is not really a software developer. And I know I've seen data science job descriptions. In fact, a recruiter reached out to me a couple of years ago and I read the description. I'm like, you know what? I wrote back, I said, I think that's really more a data analyst. And a week later, the title was changed to data analyst. So the definitions of data science vary. People come into data science and some have statistics degrees and PhDs in statistics, but maybe they really don't know how to code. But that statistics background is so critical as well to data science because statistics and programming and everything is critical. So IBM likes to focus on products that actually adapt to people's skill set. So the person with the PhD in statistics, they come in, they're like, well, I've got all this background, but I don't know how to code. Then we can say, hey, we've got the product for you. And it's called AutoAI. And AutoAI is actually a low/no code solution that can solve very highly complex machine learning problems. And so what you're seeing in that staircase right there, from gathering the data all the way through prediction, it's not going to go, the product I'm going to show you doesn't gather the data for you, but it actually does everything else without a stitch of code. And I'm going to show that to you now. This URL at the bottom right here, that is actually a link to our product page for this particular product. So, let me first tell you what problem we're going to try to solve. So the data set that I am using in this is a very toy data set, okay, because I need this product to run fairly quickly. So it happens to be a data set on forest fires in northern Portugal, and I thought that was somewhat relevant for people in the Bay Area. We've kind of encountered our share of forest fires in the last few years. The data is sourced from the UCI machine learning repository. You can actually get this data set from the QR code and link at the end of my presentation. And then I'm not going to go through all these data attributes, but this data is provided. This is a variety of the independent variables. And then what we're predicting is number 13, the area, the burned area. So with that, I am going to go to the demo. So this is when and hopefully you will try our products because I think that they're so cool. When you actually sign up for your cloud account and you get an account, you're going to log into something called Cloud Pak for Data, and it looks like this. And I'm sorry, I'm going to turn around because I want to make sure this is big enough for you guys to see. And so, because sometimes I think our user interfaces, IBM is so engineering focused, which is so great because the engine behind our stuff is amazing. But sometimes I think our UI can be sometimes a little bit challenging. So that's why I'm showing this to you guys. You will see this if you sign up for our product for any of the projects and solutions that I'm going to take you to in a little bit. I actually created this meetup project, and I have already uploaded the data set. And I've already actually run this model. So in case this winds up starting to take a little bit too long, I have something that I can pull up that will show us where we want to go. But I would also like you guys to see this and how it looks. So when you set up a project in Cloud Pak for Data, we're in Watson Studio, it's called. You have an overview, you have your assets. So you have data. Down here, I have my experiments. I have an AutoAI experiment. That's, I think you can get a lot more information and documentation on our site. So I'd rather just jump in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this. I've already set up AutoAI. And it ran. Okay. So, okay. I'm going to start and go backwards because let me just see. If I can. Okay, I am going to minimize this and actually just walk you through this. And I'll wind up, because this is really more the fun part. I have run the data now through AutoAI. And what we see here is, and we've run it because we just clicked a button that said run experiment. We've uploaded the data, clicked a button that said run experiment. And this is what we're seeing. So again, it's easier to see if I'm not scrolling, but I want to make sure that the audience here is actually able to see. So it's run the data. And if we scroll down, we can actually see that there are pipelines that are numbered. The algorithm that was chosen to solve this particular problem was not our choice. We actually can say to AutoAI, I want you to try this algorithm, this algorithm, this algorithm, and it will choose the best one. Because you can see it tried ridge, it also tried linear regression. I happen to know that this data set, and one of the reasons that I used it is it's very, very complex and as a regression problem. And so I wanted to see what AutoAI was going to do with it. Here, under enhancements, you can see that it actually will show these little acronyms depending on what the model, this particular pipeline, has done. This enhancement, HPO, is hyperparameter optimization. So it has done some tuning of the ridge algorithm. If we go to this other pipeline right here, there are two hyperparameter optimizations that were done. There was also a feature engineering. So I'm actually going to go into this because I would like to see, first I have to take a step back. There's so much to do in here. I get so excited about it. Sometimes I'm kind of all over the place. So here's the model evaluation. We're looking at the holdout score, the cross-validation score. I'm going to not go into too much detail. We can also look at the feature summary. And this, I find when I'm doing machine learning, is really, really interesting because I like to know which features are contributing the most to the model outcome. And again, in this particular case, we're trying to predict the area that will be burned by a forest fire in northern Portugal. So I actually don't even know all these independent variables, but the temp is at least identifiable. So the temperature clearly plays an important role and has a major level of importance in terms of the prediction. We can see that a new feature was created by AutoAI, and it is the sum of the DMC and the temperature. And that is the second most important feature for this particular pipeline. When you look at other pipelines, you will see different features created, but this was the second ranking pipeline in terms of score. So then we can also, we can just look at the model information, and then we have a choice of saving it. And this is where I think this gets cool, because this person, my person who has a PhD in statistics, doesn't know how to code, but they would like to learn. So they can actually save it as a model that can be deployed in production, or they could save it as a notebook. And if I save it as a notebook, what happens is that a Jupyter notebook is created within this job, and all of the code is saved. And they can open up this notebook, and it actually not only is saved, but it actually comes with Markdown that explains exactly what is happening, like this. So let me really quickly try to do this from the beginning and see if I can get this to run. Okay, rerun experiment. We're going to rerun it. Okay, so I am hoping that it's going to give me the page. Okay, I'm going to try to get to the page before we finish, but I have just kicked off the experiment. So if you do run this product, this is what it's going to look like. AutoAI is running right now, and it's running with the forest fire CSV, and it's churning through all of the data at this point. The part that I'm actually not able to get to because I've run this and I may just need to relog in is when you upload your data and you're setting up your AutoAI to run an experiment, you actually go to a page and you have a settings page, and you can say you need to actually specify which of your data fields is the predictor variable. And there are a number of models, I think anywhere up to 12, and there are check marks boxes, and you actually will check mark which models you want the AutoAI to actually try on your data. So now what's happening is that AutoAI is splitting the data into 90% training, 10%. And now what's going to happen is that it's going to do a threefold, which you just saw come up. It's doing a threefold CV on the training set, and now it's running. And it's trying all the different, it's trying feature engineering, hyperparameter tuning, and then what will ultimately come out is what I started at the beginning to show you guys. So essentially what we did was I uploaded a data set, and I don't know how to code. I mean, I really do, but I'm pretending I don't. Let me quickly log in. And actually, we use this product for our job because let's say we're building a machine learning model. I actually work on a team that I love my job. We have clients, for either current IBM clients or potentially new IBM clients who come to us with a problem that they want solved with machine learning. And so in the department that I work in, we get assigned as data scientists to maybe 6 to 8 week engagements where we build a proof of concept machine learning solution for these particular clients using our products. And sometimes what will happen is that we will actually want to test what algorithm actually works the best with data. And so we will use our own product, AutoAI, to try it out. What I did was, to start off, I selected, if you go and you do this yourself, you will upload a data set to the particular project. You're going to see all this stuff that I'm showing you right now. So I had already updated forest fires. So then what happens over here is I'm trying to keep everything big on the screen. Oh, you guys can barely see this. That's a shame. What's happening in here is that I'm seeing every column of data in my data set. And what I need to be doing is choosing which of those is the predictor column. And I've chosen area because we are trying to predict the area that the forest fire is going to burn. So I click that, and then it's a regression model. You can also do time series in here. So you can choose regression or time series. You can also choose what metric you want to optimize. I happen to do root mean squared error, which you've seen, but not all machine learning models, if you're a data scientist, you know that that's not necessarily by any stretch what you're trying to optimize for. I've worked on projects where accuracy is so-so, but I had to minimize false positives, like to a mere fraction, because for a project I was working on, if there were false positives, it put a particular client at huge risk for lawsuits. So you get to choose what you're trying to optimize for, and that actually plays into how AutoAI will run your model, because it knows what you're trying to optimize for. So down here, you can see some of the algorithms that you can actually choose. So it's simply a matter of clicking these boxes and saying, yes, I want AutoAI to try this model, this model, this all the way down here. And then, how many should it show you when it shows you all those pipelines? I happened to check 2. So it was showing us, if you remember, it was showing us ridge, and then it was also showing linear regression. So that was the reason why we were only seeing 2 of those. If I had chosen 4, we would have seen 4 different models.